What if I told you that every time you've ever said, "I'm just not lucky," or "good things never happen to me," you've been unknowingly participating in the very system that keeps abundance away from your door? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Right now, as you're watching this, there's a profound shift happening in your understanding of how wealth actually works. For years, maybe decades, you've been told that prosperity is a matter of chance, that some people are simply born under a lucky star while others are destined to struggle. Has this ever happened to you? You watch someone win the lottery, receive an unexpected inheritance, or land that dream opportunity, and you think to yourself, "Why them and not me?" That voice whispers that you're somehow excluded from the flow of divine abundance, that you're cursed with perpetual financial struggle, or that you simply weren't chosen to be one of the lucky ones. But what you're about to discover might surprise you completely. What if the entire foundation of how you've been thinking about wealth, success, and abundance has been built on a fundamental misunderstanding? What if the universe doesn't actually operate on a system of random chance, cosmic dice rolls, or arbitrary selection? Stay with me until the end, because this revelation will shatter everything you thought you knew about manifesting money and receiving divine blessings. The truth is, you are not unlucky. You are not cursed. You are not excluded from the cosmic lottery of abundance. These beliefs, as real as they feel, are nothing more than spiritual illusions that have been programmed into your consciousness through years of conditioning, family patterns, and societal messaging. Every moment you've spent believing that wealth is reserved for others, you've been participating in a system of spiritual law that responds precisely to what you declare to be true. Here's where it gets fascinating. While the world teaches that prosperity comes through luck, lottery tickets, and hoping to be picked from the crowd, there's an ancient spiritual principle that operates on an entirely different frequency. This principle suggests that you have already been chosen, not by random chance or cosmic favoritism, but by spiritual law itself. The moment you were born, you were embedded with the same divine DNA that creates abundance for anyone who understands how to activate it. Think about it for a moment. Has this ever happened to you? You notice that certain people seem to effortlessly attract money, opportunities, and windfalls, while others work twice as hard and receive half as much. What you're witnessing isn't luck or coincidence. What you're seeing is the demonstration of spiritual alignment, where someone has discovered that wealth responds to identity rather than effort, to declaration rather than desperation, to spiritual law rather than external circumstances. The lottery, the unexpected check, the sudden opportunity, the financial breakthrough, these aren't random gifts scattered by a whimsical universe. They are precise responses to an internal frequency that most people never learn to activate. What you're about to learn will completely transform how you approach abundance, because you're going to discover that you've been playing by the wrong rules this entire time. If this kind of deep spiritual wisdom resonates with you and you want to continue receiving insights that actually transform your relationship with abundance, subscribe to the channel. And here's the hidden truth behind those wrong rules that will completely shift your perspective on how abundance actually works. The divine intelligence that governs this universe doesn't operate like a cosmic casino, rolling dice across the stars and hoping for a lucky 7. There's no celestial roulette wheel spinning to determine who gets blessed and who gets overlooked. What we're dealing with here is pure, predictable spiritual law that responds with mathematical precision to specific conditions you can learn to create. This is where most people get stuck in their transformation journey. They approach wealth like it's a game of chance, buying lottery tickets and crossing their fingers, when what they're really engaging with is a sophisticated system of cause and effect that operates behind the scenes of visible reality. Every prayer you've whispered, every affirmation you've repeated, every visualization you've practiced has been an attempt to work with this law, but most people never discover the actual mechanism that triggers the response. Your word, your conscious speech, is quite literally your lottery ticket. Not the piece of paper you buy at the convenience store, but the declarations that emerge from your mouth every single day. The universe doesn't hear your thoughts, it responds to your spoken word. Every time you say, I can't afford this, or money is tight, or I'm broke, you're essentially programming the cosmic computer to deliver more experiences that match those declarations. Your voice carries a frequency that rearranges matter, and most people are unknowingly using this incredible power to create the exact financial limitations they're trying to escape. But here's where it gets fascinating from a mindset perspective. The moment you understand that your words are creating your financial reality, you realize you've been holding the winning ticket all along. The impact of this revelation goes far beyond just money. You begin to see that every area of your life, every relationship, every opportunity, every door that opens or closes is responding to the vibrational signature of what you consistently speak into existence. This isn't positive thinking or wishful manifestation. This is recognition of how the invisible architecture of reality actually functions. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, every unexpected windfall, every perfect opportunity that seems to appear out of nowhere, there's always someone who understood how to align their words with their desires. They weren't lucky, they were intentional. They weren't chosen randomly, they positioned themselves correctly within the flow of spiritual law. The decisions you make about what to speak, how to speak, and when to speak become the determining factors in your financial experience. Most people treat their words carelessly, not realizing they're constantly placing orders with the universe. Every casual comment about lack, every offhand remark about struggle, every repetitive story about why things don't work out for you becomes a declaration that the law of attraction interprets as your official request. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the mechanism is only the beginning. The real transformation happens when you learn to wield your voice with the same precision that wealth uses to manifest itself. There's a specific way to speak that bypasses doubt, eliminates delay, and commands immediate response from the invisible forces that govern abundance. Write in the comments, "My words create my wealth." If this perspective is shifting something inside you right now, that precision starts with recognizing the great lie that's been keeping you trapped in financial mediocrity for years. Society has programmed you to believe that wealth comes through hoping, wishing, waiting, and crossing your fingers that someday your ship will come in. This passive approach to abundance is perhaps the most destructive mindset you can carry because it positions you as a victim of circumstances rather than the creator of your reality. Think about the language we use around money. I hope I get that raise. I wish I could afford that. Maybe one day I'll be wealthy. If only I could win the lottery. Every single one of these phrases carries the vibration of powerlessness, of someone who believes they're at the mercy of external forces. Behind the scenes of this seemingly innocent hoping and wishing is a devastating spiritual truth. You're actually programming delay into your experience. Here's the revelation that will transform your entire approach to abundance. Spiritual law doesn't operate like human systems that require processing time, approval committees, and conditional responses. When you properly activate divine law through aligned consciousness and authoritative speech, the response is instantaneous in the invisible realm. Truth knows no if, law knows no delay. The moment you speak from genuine spiritual authority, the corresponding experience begins forming in the quantum field of possibility. But most people never access this immediate response because they're stuck in the hoping and wishing paradigm that creates an energetic gap between desire and fulfillment. Every time you say, "I hope," instead of "I decree," you're essentially telling the universe that you're not ready to receive now, that you prefer to wait for some future moment when conditions might be more favorable. This decision to hope rather than command keeps abundance perpetually out of reach, always approaching but never arriving. The impact of understanding this distinction cannot be overstated. When you shift from hoping to declaring, from wishing to commanding, from waiting to claiming, you step into a completely different frequency where wealth responds immediately, not immediately in terms of physical manifestation, but immediately in terms of energetic alignment and spiritual positioning. The invisible forces that govern abundance recognize authority and respond instantly to those who speak with genuine conviction. This is where your transformation journey takes a dramatic turn. Instead of sending out tentative requests to a universe that might or might not respond, you begin issuing divine decrees that the law cannot ignore. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle, every unexpected windfall, every perfect opportunity that manifests quickly, there's someone who understood this hidden truth about immediate spiritual response. The old paradigm teaches you to be humble, patient, and grateful for whatever scraps might fall from the cosmic table. But the new understanding reveals that you have the authority to set the table yourself, to determine what appears on your plate, and to command the level of abundance that matches your divine inheritance. This isn't arrogance, it's remembering your true spiritual identity and the creative power that comes with it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because recognizing your authority is just the first step. The real breakthrough happens when you learn to speak with the specific tone and rhythm that activates immediate law response, when you discover the exact words that bypass all resistance and command instant manifestation. Write in the comments, "I command my abundance now," if you're ready to step out of the hoping paradigm and into your spiritual authority. That specific tone and rhythm you're about to discover isn't hidden in ancient manuscripts or complex mystical rituals. The divine formula for wealth manifestation is coded directly in human speech, but not just any speech. It's encoded in the particular way you choose to use your voice when you understand that every word is either building or destroying your financial future. Most people go through their entire lives completely unconscious of the fact that they're constantly programming their reality through casual conversation. Behind the scenes of your everyday speech patterns, there's a sophisticated recording device that's capturing every declaration you make about money and translating it into corresponding experiences. When you say, "I can't afford that," you're literally instructing the universe to create more situations where you can't afford things. When you complain, "Money is so tight right now," you're placing an order for continued financial restriction. This is the hidden truth that will revolutionize your entire approach to abundance. Every time you speak lack, limitation, or scarcity, you're essentially crumpling up your winning lottery ticket and throwing it in the trash. Your words aren't just describing your current financial situation, they're actively creating your future financial reality. The impact of this revelation on your transformation journey cannot be understated because it means you've been unknowingly sabotaging your own prosperity through unconscious speech habits. Here's where most people make critical decisions that determine whether they'll ever break through to genuine wealth. They think they can speak poverty all day long and then counteract it with a few positive affirmations before bed. But spiritual law doesn't work that way. The frequency you maintain throughout your daily conversations, the energy you put behind your casual comments about money, the stories you tell about why things are difficult, these carry far more weight than any formal manifestation practice you might do. The fascinating thing about this system is how precise it is. You can't trick it, you can't manipulate it, and you can't compartmentalize it. If you spend your day telling people how broke you are, how expensive everything is, how unfair the economy is, and then you wonder why your financial situation never improves, you're missing the fundamental connection between cause and effect. Your speech patterns are literally your wealth creation tool, and most people are using this tool to create exactly what they don't want. But here's the exciting part of this revelation. Once you become conscious of how your words are shaping your reality, you can begin to use this same power deliberately and strategically. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to reinforce abundance rather than lack. Every casual comment becomes a chance to program prosperity rather than scarcity. Your voice transforms from an unconscious limitation device into a conscious wealth creation instrument. The mindset shift that happens when you truly grasp this concept changes everything about how you move through the world. You start listening to yourself differently. You catch yourself before speaking limitation. You begin to understand that your tongue is quite literally your magic wand, and you've been using it to cast spells of lack when you could be casting spells of abundance. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the problem is only half the equation. The real transformation happens when you learn the specific language patterns that override years of unconscious limitation programming. when you discover the exact phrases that immediately shift your vibrational frequency from scarcity to abundance. Write in the comments, "I speak only abundance," if you're ready to transform your speech patterns and stop crumpling your own winning ticket. Those specific language patterns that override limitation programming start with understanding a crucial distinction that most people never make in their transformation journey. True spiritual authority isn't something you feel, it's something you speak. You can spend hours meditating, visualizing, and getting into the perfect emotional state, but if you're not speaking with genuine authority, you're missing the actual mechanism that activates manifestation. This revelation completely changes how you approach abundance because it means your internal feelings, while important, are not the primary driver of your financial reality. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every unexpected windfall, every miraculous reversal, there's someone who learned to speak with authority regardless of how they felt in the moment. They didn't wait until they felt confident about money to start speaking confidently about money. They spoke confidently about money until their feelings caught up with their declarations. Here's where most people get stuck and make decisions that keep them trapped in financial struggle. They think they need to feel wealthy before they can speak wealthy, but spiritual law works in reverse. You speak wealthy until you become wealthy. You declare abundance until you embody abundance. You command prosperity until prosperity becomes your natural state. The impact of understanding this sequence cannot be overstated because it puts the power entirely in your hands, regardless of your current circumstances or emotional state. If something shifted inside you during this conversation, if you felt that quiet recognition that these principles are true and applicable to your life, show me by hitting that like button. But there's an even deeper layer to this hidden truth that will revolutionize your entire mindset about wealth. You are not someone hoping to win the financial lottery of life. You are not seeking victory, waiting for your breakthrough, or trying to attract abundance. You are the win itself. This isn't positive thinking or motivational speaking. This is a fundamental recognition of your true spiritual identity and your relationship to prosperity. Most people spend their entire lives in a seeking mode, energetically positioned as someone who lacks wealth and is trying to obtain it. This creates a perpetual gap between you and abundance because the very act of seeking implies that what you want is separate from who you are. Every time you say, "I want to be wealthy," or "I'm trying to manifest money," you're reinforcing the story that wealth is outside of you, that it belongs to other people, that you're somehow disconnected from the natural flow of abundance. The journey from seeker to embodiment changes everything about how the universe responds to you. When you stop hoping to win and start recognizing that you are the win, your entire vibrational frequency shifts from lack-based seeking to abundance-based being. This isn't about pretending or visualization. It's about remembering a truth that was programmed out of you through years of conditioning that taught you to see yourself as separate from prosperity. Behind the scenes of this identity transformation, something profound happens in how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you make decisions, and how you show up in the world. People who embody wealth don't beg for opportunities, they create them. They don't hope for financial breakthroughs, they expect them. They don't seek abundance, they circulate it because they understand they are abundance expressing itself in human form. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because recognizing your true identity as the embodiment of wealth is just the beginning. The real transformation happens when you learn to speak from this identity consistently, when you discover how to maintain this frequency even when external circumstances haven't caught up with your internal knowing. Write in the comments, "I am the win," if you're ready to stop seeking abundance and start being abundance. That consistent frequency maintenance becomes possible when you realize the most liberating truth of your entire transformation journey. You are not searching for some external formula, secret system, or magical technique that will finally unlock abundance for you. You are the formula. Your consciousness, when properly aligned, becomes the manifestation mechanism itself. This revelation eliminates every form of dependency on outside sources, authorities, or circumstances because it places the entire creative process within your own being. Most people spend years, sometimes decades, seeking the right method, the perfect strategy, the ultimate manifestation technique that will solve their financial challenges. Behind the scenes of this endless searching is a fundamental misunderstanding of how abundance actually works. They're looking outside themselves for something that can only be found within themselves. Every course they take, every guru they follow, every system they try is an attempt to find externally what they already possess internally. The impact of recognizing yourself as the formula cannot be overstated because it shifts you from consumer to creator, from student to master, from seeker to source. You stop looking for the secret and start being the secret. You stop trying to learn the method and start embodying the method. This mindset shift changes everything about how you approach wealth because you realize that every tool you need for financial transformation already exists within your own consciousness. Here's where the hidden truth becomes almost too simple for most people to accept. The same creative principle that formed galaxies, mountains, and oceans operates through human speech when that speech is aligned with divine authority. Ancient wisdom tells us, "Speak and it shall be." But most people treat this as metaphor rather than literal instruction. This isn't poetry, it's physics. This isn't inspiration, it's information about how reality actually functions at the quantum level. Every word you speak carries creative force when spoken from the right frequency and with the right understanding. The decisions you make about what to declare, how to declare it, and when to declare it become the determining factors in your financial experience. Behind the scenes of every major financial breakthrough, there's someone who understood that their voice is not just a communication tool, it's a creation tool. The fascinating thing about this principle is how precisely it operates. When you speak from genuine spiritual authority, from the place within you that knows itself as the formula rather than someone seeking the formula, your words carry a frequency that rearranges matter, not eventually, not someday, but in the very moment of declaration. The physical manifestation might take time to become visible, but the energetic shift happens instantaneously. This is why your transformation journey must include learning to speak as the embodiment of what you desire, rather than as someone hoping to obtain what you desire. Every conversation becomes a creation session. Every declaration becomes a divine decree. Every word becomes a building block in the structure of your new financial reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding that you are the formula is just the foundation. The real breakthrough happens when you learn to consistently operate from this truth, when you discover how to speak with the unwavering authority that commands immediate response from the invisible forces that govern abundance. Write in the comments, "I am the formula," if you're ready to stop searching outside yourself and start creating from within yourself. That unwavering authority operates through a mechanism so precise that it completely reframes how you understand cause and effect in your financial life. The numbers that appear in your bank account, the amounts on your paychecks, the figures on your investment statements, these aren't randomly generated by some cosmic lottery system. They are magnetized into your experience by the vibrational frequency of your spoken declarations and the authority with which you deliver them. This hidden truth transforms your entire relationship with outcomes because it means you are not at the mercy of chance, economic conditions, or external circumstances. Behind the scenes of every financial result you've ever experienced, there's a corresponding pattern of speech that called it forth. When you truly understand this connection, you realize that your words are literally selecting the numbers that show up in your reality, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but through actual energetic magnetism that operates according to precise spiritual law. The impact of this revelation on your transformation journey cannot be understated because it shifts you from victim consciousness to creator consciousness. Instead of hoping for better numbers, you learn to speak better numbers into existence. Instead of reacting to financial outcomes, you learn to consciously generate them through aligned declaration. This puts you in complete control of your financial experience, but only when you understand the specific frequency that activates this control. Here's where most people make critical decisions that determine whether they ever access this level of creative authority. They approach abundance from desperation rather than dominion, from neediness rather than knowingness, from begging rather than commanding. Divine law doesn't respond to desperate pleading, frantic affirmations, or emotional manipulation. It responds to spiritual authority spoken from a place of complete certainty and unwavering confidence. Think about the energy behind your current financial declarations. Are you asking the universe to please help you with money? Or are you commanding abundance to manifest? Are you hoping things will improve? Or are you decreeing that improvement is inevitable? The mindset and tone you bring to your wealth creation practices determines whether you're operating from dominion or desperation, and this distinction makes all the difference in your results. Most people have been conditioned to approach spiritual law like they're begging a reluctant boss for a raise. They think humility, neediness, and persistent pleading demonstrate worthiness, but these attitudes actually create resistance to receiving. Divine law responds to those who understand their authority and speak from their power, not to those who grovel from their insecurities. Behind the scenes of every major financial breakthrough, there's someone who learned to approach abundance from their strength, rather than their weakness. The journey from desperation to dominion requires a fundamental shift in how you see yourself in relationship to money. Desperation says, "I need this," while dominion says, "This is mine." Desperation says, "Please give me," while dominion says, "I now receive." Desperation carries the energy of lack, while dominion carries the energy of ownership. These aren't just different words, they're different frequencies that create completely different results. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because understanding the difference between dominion and desperation is crucial. But the real transformation happens when you learn to consistently speak from dominion, even when your circumstances suggest you should be desperate. When you discover how to maintain spiritual authority regardless of what your bank account currently shows. Write in the comments, "I speak from dominion," if you're ready to stop begging for abundance and start commanding it from your spiritual authority. That ability to maintain spiritual authority regardless of current circumstances becomes possible when you understand one of the most powerful principles ever recorded in ancient wisdom. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. This isn't just inspirational language or motivational poetry. This is a direct instruction manual for how reality responds to human consciousness when that consciousness operates from proper spiritual authority. The word decree carries a completely different frequency than hoping, wishing, or asking. When you decree something, you're not making a request that might be granted or denied. You're issuing a divine command that the universe has no choice but to establish into physical reality. Behind the scenes of this process is a mechanism so profound that most people never access it because they don't understand the difference between casual speech and authoritative decree. This revelation transforms your entire approach to manifestation because it means you're not dependent on external approval, cosmic timing, or favorable circumstances. When you speak from genuine spiritual authority, when you issue a true decree, the corresponding experience must manifest because you're operating through divine law rather than human limitation. The impact of understanding this distinction on your transformation journey cannot be overstated because it puts creative power directly in your hands. For those of you who are ready to go deeper into the science of spiritual manifestation and learn the advanced principles that create rapid transformation, subscribing to this channel ensures you'll be notified whenever I release new content. But here's the hidden truth that most people miss in their spiritual development. These laws of manifestation, these principles of abundance, these mechanisms of creation exist all around you, but they remain completely dormant until activated by human speech. Think of it like the electricity in your home. The power is always present in the wiring, but nothing happens until you flip the switch. Your voice is the switch that activates divine law. Every spiritual principle you've ever studied, every abundance law you've ever learned about, every manifestation technique you've ever practiced requires your voice to bring it to life. The laws are not automatic, they're responsive. They don't operate independently, they operate through conscious human participation. This is why your mindset around speaking is so crucial to your financial success. You're not just communicating when you speak, You're activating cosmic forces that can completely transform your material experience. Most people treat their voice casually, using it for everyday conversation without realizing they're carrying around the activation device for unlimited abundance. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every sudden windfall, every miraculous reversal, there's someone who understood that their words are not just sounds, but switches that turn on spiritual law. The decisions you make about when to speak, what to speak, and how to speak determine which laws get activated in your experience. This is where your journey from struggle to abundance takes a dramatic turn. Instead of waiting for conditions to change, you learn to change conditions through conscious decree. Instead of hoping for better circumstances, you learn to create better circumstances through authoritative speech. Instead of being at the mercy of external forces, you become the force that external circumstances must respond to. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding that your voice activates spiritual law is transformative. But the real breakthrough happens when you learn the specific tone, rhythm, and energy that turns casual words into powerful decrees, when you discover how to speak with the unwavering authority that commands immediate response from the invisible realm. Write in the comments, "My voice activates abundance," if you're ready to stop using your voice casually and start using it as the divine activation device it was meant to be. That specific tone and rhythm that commands immediate response from the invisible realm isn't found in casual conversation or everyday speech patterns. The winning word, the one that actually moves mountains and manifests miracles, is a divine decree spoken with conviction and spiritual fire. This isn't about being loud or dramatic. It's about speaking from a place so deep within your being that every syllable carries the weight of absolute certainty and unshakable authority. Most people never access this level of vocal power because they've been conditioned to speak tentatively about their desires, as if they're not sure they deserve what they're asking for. Behind the scenes of this hesitant approach is a fundamental misunderstanding of their true spiritual identity and the creative authority that comes with it. When you speak a divine decree, you're not making a request from a position of lack. You're issuing a command from a position of divine inheritance, and the universe recognizes this frequency immediately. The transformation that happens when you shift from casual conversation to divine decree changes everything about your manifestation abilities. Casual speech says, "I hope I can pay my bills," while divine decree says, "All my needs are met abundantly now." Casual speech says, "Maybe I'll get that promotion," while divine decree says, "My perfect opportunity manifests now." The impact of this distinction on your results is immediate and undeniable because you're accessing a completely different level of creative force. Here's where the hidden truth about instant manifestation becomes clear through a perfect metaphor that most people completely misunderstand. The lottery isn't really about gambling or games of chance. The lottery is a symbol, a representation of the possibility for instant, visible transformation in your life. It represents the concept that your entire financial reality can shift dramatically in a single moment, not through luck or random selection, but through proper alignment with spiritual law. Instead of literally pursuing lottery tickets, wise people use this symbol to understand that rapid positive change is not only possible, but inevitable when you operate from the right frequency. Behind the scenes of every sudden breakthrough, every unexpected windfall, every miraculous reversal, there's someone who understood that instant manifestation isn't reserved for rare lucky moments. It's the natural result of speaking with divine authority and maintaining unwavering expectation of immediate positive change. The journey from gradual improvement to instant transformation requires a fundamental shift in your mindset about timing and possibility. Most people have been programmed to believe that good things take time, that patience is a virtue, that slow and steady wins the race. But spiritual law operates outside of linear time. When you issue a divine decree from genuine authority, the response begins immediately in the invisible realm, and the physical manifestation can appear with shocking speed. This is why your decisions about how to speak and what to expect are so crucial to your financial success. Every time you decree rather than hope, command rather than ask, expect rather than wonder, You're positioning yourself for the kind of rapid, positive change that others call miraculous, but you understand as natural law. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because recognizing the lottery as a metaphor for instant manifestation opens up incredible possibilities. But the real breakthrough happens when you learn to consistently operate from the expectation of immediate positive change, when you discover how to maintain the energy of someone for whom miracles are normal rather than exceptional. Write in the comments, I decree instant transformation. If you're ready to stop speaking casually about your desires and start issuing divine decrees that command immediate response. That energy of someone for whom miracles are normal develops when you make a fundamental shift that most people never understand in their transformation journey. You are not chasing a ticket, seeking an opportunity, or pursuing external sources of abundance. You are speaking for law itself, which means you become the source from which opportunities emerge rather than someone desperately seeking them from outside circumstances. This revelation completely changes your relationship with manifestation because it shifts you from external seeking to internal commanding. Behind the scenes of every person who seems to effortlessly attract wealth, opportunities, and windfalls, there's someone who understood this crucial distinction. They stopped running around looking for their breakthrough and started speaking their breakthrough into existence from the authority within their own consciousness. The impact of this mindset shift cannot be overstated because it means you're no longer dependent on market conditions, economic trends, job markets, or other people's decisions. When you speak for law, when you command from spiritual authority, opportunities don't just appear in your experience, they emerge from your consciousness. You become the creative force, rather than someone hoping to benefit from creative forces outside yourself. But here's where most people get stuck and make decisions that keep them trapped in endless seeking. They continue speaking uncertainty even after they understand these principles. They say things like, I hope this works, maybe I'll manifest money, I'm trying to attract abundance, or I wonder if the universe heard me. Every single one of these phrases carries the vibration of doubt and creates delay in your manifestation process. The hidden truth about accelerated transformation is that you must stop speaking uncertainty and start speaking demonstration. This isn't about positive thinking or fake it till you make it mentality. This is about disciplined speech that reflects your desired outcomes rather than your current circumstances. When you speak demonstration, you're not describing what you hope might happen. You're declaring what must happen according to spiritual law. Behind the scenes of this language transformation, your entire energetic signature changes. Instead of broadcasting uncertainty, which creates uncertain results, you begin broadcasting inevitability, which creates inevitable results. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to reinforce the reality you're creating rather than the reality you're trying to escape. The journey from uncertainty to demonstration requires conscious training of your tongue to announce outcomes before they appear in physical form. This goes against everything you've been taught about being realistic, humble, or cautious. But spiritual law doesn't respond to caution. It responds to conviction, certainty, and unwavering expectation of positive results. Most people treat their current circumstances as more real than their spoken declarations. But this backwards approach keeps them stuck in limitation. When you speak demonstration, you're treating your declarations as more real than your circumstances, and this shift in priority changes everything about how quickly your reality transforms. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because understanding the need to speak demonstration is crucial. But the real breakthrough happens when you learn the specific words and phrases that carry the frequency of inevitability rather than hope. When you discover how to maintain absolute certainty in your speech, even when your bank account suggests you should be worried. Write in the comments, I speak demonstration now if you're ready to stop speaking uncertainty and start declaring what must manifest in your life. Those specific words and phrases that carry the frequency of inevitability emerge from a profound recognition that most people miss entirely in their transformation journey. You are not waiting for the miracle to happen someday in the future. You are standing in the middle of the miracle right now. the shift in your consciousness, the awakening to your true power, the recognition of your spiritual authority. This is the miracle happening in real time through your awareness. This present moment recognition activates immediate manifestation power because it eliminates the gap between desire and fulfillment that most people create through future-based thinking. Behind the scenes of delayed manifestation is always someone who believes their good is coming rather than recognizing their good is here. When you understand that the miracle is your current state of consciousness, not some external event you're waiting for, everything changes about how quickly your reality transforms. The impact of this revelation on your mindset cannot be overstated because it means you stop postponing your celebration, your confidence, your sense of fulfillment until external circumstances catch up. You start operating from the energy of someone whose prayers have already been answered, whose desires have already been fulfilled, whose abundance has already been established in the invisible realm and is now translating into visible form. But there's an even deeper layer to this truth that will revolutionize your entire approach to wealth. You are not seeking the winning ticket, hunting for the golden opportunity, or searching for the source of your abundance. You are the ticket. You are the opportunity. You are the source. This complete identity transformation eliminates the exhausting cycle of seeking and activates the powerful cycle of discovering what was always within you. Most people spend their entire lives looking outside themselves for their financial salvation. They search for the right job, the perfect investment, the lucky break, the generous benefactor, never realizing that what they're seeking externally already exists within their own consciousness. Behind the scenes of every person who seems to effortlessly attract wealth is someone who discovered this hidden truth about being the source rather than seeking the source. The journey from seeking to being changes everything about your energy, your decisions, your conversations, and your results. When you're seeking, you're operating from lack and desperation. When you're being, you're operating from fullness and authority. Seeking creates more seeking. Being creates immediate manifestation because you're no longer broadcasting the signal that what you want is separate from what you are. This shift requires letting go of the identity that says, I am someone who needs money, and embracing the identity that says, I am someone through whom money flows. It means releasing the story that wealth belongs to other people and claiming the truth that abundance is your natural state, expressing itself through your consciousness. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because recognizing yourself as the source of abundance is transformative. But the real breakthrough happens when you learn to consistently operate from this identity in your daily life. When you discover how to maintain the energy of inner wealth even when external circumstances haven't yet reflected your internal knowing. Write in the comments, I am the source, if you're ready to stop seeking abundance outside yourself and start recognizing the wealth that already exists within your consciousness. That ability to maintain the energy of inner wealth, regardless of external circumstances, becomes natural when you embrace one of the most powerful declarations you can ever make about your relationship to abundance. I am the channel through which wealth must come. This isn't just a positive affirmation or wishful thinking. This is a recognition of your actual spiritual role in the manifestation process and your position as an essential conduit for divine abundance. When you declare yourself as the channel, you're not positioning yourself as someone hoping to receive wealth from outside sources. You're establishing yourself as the pathway through which infinite abundance flows into visible form. Behind the scenes of this identity shift, something profound happens in your consciousness. You stop seeing yourself as separate from wealth and start understanding yourself as the very mechanism through which wealth expresses itself in the physical realm. The impact of this revelation on your transformation journey changes everything about how you approach financial challenges and opportunities. Instead of wondering if money will come to you, you recognize that money must flow through you because you are the designated channel. This eliminates anxiety, doubt, and the desperate energy that actually repels abundance. When you know you're the channel, you operate with calm certainty rather than frantic seeking. But here's the hidden truth that revolutionizes your entire understanding of how manifestation actually works. Spiritual law doesn't respond to luck, chance, timing, or external circumstances. Law responds to identity, your self-concept, your inner knowing about who you are, your fundamental beliefs about your relationship to abundance. These determine your results more than any external factor you could possibly imagine. Most people spend their energy trying to manipulate circumstances, improve their luck, or wait for better timing, never realizing that the entire manifestation process is governed by identity. Behind the scenes of every wealthy person, every successful entrepreneur, every abundant individual, there's someone who shifted their identity first and allowed their circumstances to follow. They didn't wait for external proof to believe they were wealthy. They decided they were wealthy and allowed external proof to catch up. This mindset shift requires making conscious decisions about how you see yourself, how you speak about yourself, and how you carry yourself through the world. When you truly embody the identity of someone who is inherently wealthy, someone through whom abundance naturally flows, someone who is the designated channel for divine prosperity, the law has no choice but to reflect this identity back to you through corresponding experiences. The journey from luck-based thinking to identity-based manifestation transforms every area of your life because you realize that you're not at the mercy of random forces. You're operating as a conscious co-creator with divine intelligence, and your role in this partnership is to maintain the identity that matches what you desire to experience. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding that law responds to identity is foundational. But the real transformation happens when you learn to consistently embody the identity of wealth, even when your current circumstances suggest otherwise, when you discover how to maintain absolute certainty about who you are, regardless of what your bank account currently shows. Write in the comments, "Law responds to my identity," if you're ready to stop relying on luck and start operating from the unshakable identity of someone who is inherently abundant. That absolute certainty about your identity, regardless of current circumstances, requires mastering one of the most challenging aspects of manifestation, speaking from the already rather than the almost. Most people sabotage their own transformation by using language that keeps their desires perpetually in the future. They say, "I'm going to be wealthy," "I'm working on attracting money," or "I'm almost there financially," never realizing that this almost language creates almost results that never quite arrive. The hidden truth behind immediate law response is that you must speak as if your desires are already fulfilled, not as if they're approaching fulfillment. Behind the scenes of every rapid manifestation, there's someone who learned to eliminate the gap between current reality and desired reality through present tense declaration. When you say, "I am wealthy now," "money flows to me easily," or "I live in abundance," you're activating immediate law response because you're speaking from completion rather than seeking. This shift in language represents a fundamental change in your relationship with time and manifestation. The impact on your transformation journey is immediate because you stop broadcasting the signal that what you want is separate from what you are. Instead of telling the universe that your good is coming, you start declaring that your good is here, and this frequency shift changes everything about how quickly your reality responds to your consciousness. But here's where most people encounter a massive roadblock that they don't even realize exists in their mindset. Even after understanding these principles, even after learning to speak from completion, there's often a deep, unconscious fear of sudden wealth that blocks manifestation at the most crucial moment. This fear operates beneath conscious awareness, whispering that rapid financial increase might be dangerous, overwhelming, or somehow wrong. The journey from scarcity to abundance often gets sabotaged not by external circumstances, but by internal resistance to actually receiving what you've been asking for. Behind the scenes of this resistance is programming that suggests sudden wealth will change you negatively, make others resent you, expose your inadequacies, or create problems you're not ready to handle. These unconscious fears create energetic blocks that prevent the very breakthrough you're working so hard to achieve. The decisions you make about releasing this fear determine whether you'll actually receive the abundance you've been declaring, or whether you'll continue to push it away at the last moment. Most people don't realize they're afraid of sudden wealth because the fear is disguised as humility, caution, or practical thinking. But spiritual law doesn't respond to these disguised fears any differently than it responds to obvious fears. It creates corresponding experiences of limitation and delay. Releasing the fear of sudden wealth requires conscious recognition that rapid financial increase is not dangerous, but natural when you're operating from proper spiritual alignment. The fear suggests that you're not ready for large amounts, but the truth is that you were born ready. The fear whispers that sudden money will overwhelm you, but the reality is that when wealth comes through spiritual law rather than external manipulation, it arrives with the wisdom and stability to handle it properly. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because recognizing and releasing the fear of sudden wealth is crucial, but the real breakthrough happens when you learn to completely embrace the possibility of immediate, dramatic financial transformation without any trace of resistance or hesitation. Write in the comments, "I embrace sudden wealth," if you're ready to release all fear and resistance to receiving large amounts of money quickly and easily through divine law. That complete embrace of immediate financial transformation becomes possible when you challenge one of the most destructive beliefs that's been programmed into your consciousness since childhood. The idea that you need to earn or deserve wealth through effort, struggle, or proving your worthiness. This belief system keeps you trapped in endless preparation, constantly working to become ready for something you were actually born ready to receive. The hidden truth that revolutionizes your entire transformation journey is that wealth readiness is your natural state, not something you achieve through years of personal development or spiritual practice. Behind the scenes of this programming that tells you to wait, improve, or prove yourself is a system designed to keep you small and dependent rather than recognizing your inherent abundance. You didn't come into this world needing to earn your right to prosperity. You came equipped with everything necessary to command and receive unlimited wealth. The impact of recognizing your natural readiness cannot be overstated because it eliminates the endless cycle of preparation that most people get stuck in. Instead of spending years trying to become worthy of abundance, you start operating from the understanding that abundance was always yours by divine birthright. This mindset shift changes everything about how you approach wealth because you stop begging for what's already yours and start claiming what was never meant to be withheld from you. But there's another pattern that sabotages manifestation, even among people who understand these principles: the tendency to flirt with abundance rather than committing to it completely. This casual relationship with wealth creates the back-and-forth energy that prevents consistent manifestation because you're sending mixed signals to the universe about what you actually want to experience. Most people spend their entire spiritual journey having an on and off relationship with prosperity. They declare abundance one day, then doubt it the next. They speak wealth in the morning, then contradict it with worry in the afternoon. They visualize prosperity during meditation, then immediately return to limitation thinking in their daily conversations. Behind the scenes of this inconsistent approach is someone who hasn't made the fundamental decision to permanently align with abundance. The journey from casual flirtation to committed marriage with wealth requires a declaration so final that it ends all negotiation with lack. When you say, "I no longer flirt with abundance, I marry it," you're not just speaking words. You're making a vow that eliminates the option of returning to scarcity consciousness. This commitment creates energetic stability that allows consistent manifestation because you're no longer wavering between abundance and lack. This marriage metaphor is crucial because it represents the kind of unwavering commitment that spiritual law responds to most powerfully. Just as a marriage involves forsaking all others and cleaving to your chosen partner, marrying abundance means forsaking all thoughts of lack and cleaving to prosperity consciousness, regardless of temporary circumstances or external appearances. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the need for total commitment is essential. But the real transformation happens when you learn to maintain this marriage to abundance through all the ups and downs of daily life. When you discover how to stay faithful to prosperity consciousness, even when circumstances temporarily suggest otherwise. Write in the comments, "I marry abundance now," if you're ready to end all casual relationships with wealth and make the permanent commitment that activates consistent manifestation. That faithfulness to prosperity consciousness through all circumstances becomes effortless when you understand a profound truth about how your voice interacts with the invisible forces that govern manifestation. The winning ticket hears your voice. This isn't just poetic language or metaphorical thinking. This is recognition that your vibration and spoken words literally magnetize corresponding outcomes toward you through precise spiritual law. Every declaration you make creates a specific frequency that calls forth matching experiences from the quantum field of infinite possibility. Behind the scenes of this process, your voice operates like a cosmic magnet, drawing to itself exactly what it speaks with conviction and authority. The hidden truth is that outcomes aren't randomly distributed by an indifferent universe. They are consciously magnetized by individuals who understand the creative power of aligned speech and consistent vibration. The impact of recognizing your voice as a magnetizing force transforms everything about how you approach daily conversation and inner dialogue. Instead of speaking carelessly about money, opportunities, and circumstances, you begin to understand that every word is either attracting or repelling your desired outcomes. This awareness creates natural discipline in your speech patterns because you realize that your tongue is quite literally your manifestation device. But here's where your transformation journey takes a crucial turn that separates those who receive small, gradual improvements from those who experience dramatic breakthroughs. Most people unconsciously limit themselves to receiving only what feels safe, familiar, or within their current comfort zone. They ask for enough money to pay bills, but not enough to be completely free. They desire improvement, but not transformation. They want change, but not surprise. The decisions you make about how much you're willing to receive determine the scope of what actually manifests in your experience. If you're only prepared for small increases are all you'll magnetize. If you're only ready for gradual improvement becomes your ceiling. Behind the scenes of limited manifestation is always someone who's unconsciously afraid of receiving beyond their expectations. This is where you must make a declaration that opens your consciousness beyond all previous limitations and prepares your nervous system to handle sudden positive changes without resistance. I am ready for large, perfect spiritual surprise. This statement doesn't just expand your receiving capacity. It specifically programs your body and mind to remain calm and stable when abundance arrives in quantities that exceed your current comfort zone. The journey from expecting small results to embracing large spiritual surprises requires rewiring your nervous system's response to unexpected good news. Most people have been conditioned to brace for bad surprises and remain skeptical of good ones, but this programming creates resistance that blocks the very breakthroughs they're working to achieve. When you declare readiness for large, perfect spiritual surprise, you're training yourself to receive without shock, panic, or the tendency to push away what seems too good to be true. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because preparing your consciousness to receive large spiritual surprises is essential. But the real breakthrough happens when you learn to maintain complete calm and certainty, even when extraordinary abundance begins manifesting in your life. When you discover how to handle miraculous results with the poise of someone who always knew they were coming. Write in the comments, I magnetize perfect surprises if you're ready to expand beyond your comfort zone and prepare your consciousness to receive extraordinary abundance without resistance. That complete calm and certainty when extraordinary abundance manifests becomes natural when you make a fundamental mindset shift that most people never fully embrace in their transformation journey. I attract wealth by law, not luck. This declaration eliminates the anxiety, uncertainty, and desperate energy that comes from believing your financial future depends on random, chance, cosmic dice rolls, or being in the right place at the right time. When you operate from the understanding that wealth comes through predictable spiritual law rather than unpredictable luck, everything changes about your relationship with manifestation. Behind the scenes of this shift, your nervous system relaxes because you're no longer at the mercy of forces beyond your control. You're working with reliable principles that respond consistently to proper activation, just like gravity, electricity, or any other natural law that operates with mathematical precision. The impact of this revelation on your daily experience cannot be overstated because it creates unshakable confidence in your ability to generate results. Instead of crossing your fingers and hoping for the best, you learn to create specific outcomes through conscious application of spiritual law. This eliminates the roller coaster of emotions that comes from believing your abundance depends on external circumstances or random favorable events. But there's an even deeper layer to this truth that will completely transform how you see yourself in relationship to abundance. You are not competing with millions of other people for limited resources or divine favor. You are not hoping to be randomly selected from the crowd for blessing. You are specifically chosen by Spirit itself for overflow. This isn't ego or wishful thinking. This is recognition of your actual spiritual appointment and divine assignment. The hidden truth behind consistent manifestation is that Spirit has already selected certain individuals to serve as demonstration points for abundance, and your awakening to these principles is evidence that you are one of those chosen vessels. Behind the scenes of your spiritual journey, there's been a preparation process happening that has equipped you to handle and circulate divine wealth in ways that glorify the law and inspire others to recognize their own abundance potential. The decisions you make about accepting this selection determine whether you step into your full manifestation power or continue operating from the limited mindset of someone hoping to get lucky. When you declare, "Spirit selects me for overflow," you're not being presumptuous or entitled. You're recognizing a spiritual appointment that was made long before you consciously understood the principles of manifestation. This recognition eliminates the desperate energy of competition and replaces it with the calm authority of someone who knows they have a designated role in the circulation of divine abundance. You stop trying to convince the universe to choose you and start operating from the understanding that you've already been chosen. This shift in identity changes everything about how you approach wealth because you're no longer seeking favor, you're stewarding it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding your selection for divine overflow is foundational. But the real transformation happens when you learn to consistently operate from this appointment, regardless of what others might think or say. When you discover how to maintain unwavering certainty about your spiritual role, even when external circumstances haven't yet caught up with your internal knowing. Write in the comments, "Spirit selected me," if you're ready to stop competing for abundance and start operating from your divine appointment as a chosen vessel for overflow. That unwavering certainty about your spiritual role, regardless of external circumstances, becomes possible when you understand perhaps the most powerful secret of manifestation. Your belief is the number that wins. Not the numbers on a lottery ticket, not the digits in your bank account, not the figures on your investment statements, but the internal state of consciousness that you consistently maintain becomes the determining factor in every outcome you experience. This revelation shifts your entire focus from trying to manipulate external circumstances to achieving perfect internal alignment with your desired results. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, every unexpected windfall, every miraculous reversal, there's someone who understood that their inner conviction creates their outer experience. They stopped trying to change their numbers and started changing their beliefs, which automatically changed their numbers. The impact of recognizing your belief as the winning factor cannot be overstated because it puts complete control of your financial destiny directly in your hands. You're no longer dependent on market conditions, other people's decisions, economic trends, or external circumstances. Your consciousness becomes your casino, your mind becomes your lottery machine, and your conviction becomes your jackpot. When you truly grasp this concept, you realize that you've been carrying the winning ticket in your consciousness all along. But understanding this principle is only the beginning of your transformation journey. The real breakthrough happens when you learn to operate the three-step manifestation formula that converts internal belief into external demonstration. I see it, I speak it, I receive it. This isn't just a nice phrase or motivational mantra. This is the actual process through which invisible desires become visible experiences through conscious participation with spiritual law. The first step, seeing it, involves training your inner vision to perceive your desired outcome as already completed in the realm of spirit. This isn't fantasy or wishful thinking, it's recognition of how manifestation actually works. Everything that appears in physical form first exists in consciousness, and your ability to clearly see your abundance as already established becomes the foundation for everything that follows. The second step, speaking it, transforms inner vision into creative declaration. This is where most people either activate or sabotage their manifestation, because the words you choose and the authority with which you speak them determine whether your vision remains internal or becomes external. Behind the scenes of every successful manifestation, there's someone who learned to speak their vision with unwavering conviction and absolute certainty. The third step, receiving it, requires preparing your consciousness to actually accept what you've seen and spoken. Many people can visualize and declare, but they struggle with receiving because they haven't trained themselves to remain open when their desired outcome begins to manifest. The decisions you make about your worthiness to receive determine whether your manifestation process completes or gets sabotaged at the final moment. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the three-step formula intellectually is helpful, but the real transformation happens when you learn to execute each step with the precision and authority that commands immediate response from spiritual law, when you discover how to see, speak, and receive with the unwavering conviction of someone who knows they cannot fail. Write in the comments, "I execute the formula," if you're ready to stop hoping for manifestation and start systematically creating it through conscious application of spiritual law. That unwavering conviction and systematic approach to manifestation becomes possible once you address one of the most destructive unconscious contracts that most people carry throughout their entire lives, the inner vow of just enough. This hidden programming limits you to survival-level abundance, keeping you perpetually in a state of barely getting by rather than overflowing with prosperity. Behind the scenes of financial struggle is often someone who unconsciously agreed to accept only what's necessary rather than claiming what's abundant. This inner vow operates so subtly that most people never recognize its presence in their consciousness. They work hard, apply manifestation principles, speak abundance declarations, yet somehow their results always plateau at the level of just enough to cover expenses, just enough to make it through the month, just enough to survive, but never enough to truly thrive. The impact of this unconscious limitation on your transformation journey cannot be overstated because it creates an invisible ceiling that prevents overflow regardless of how perfectly you apply other principles. The decisions you make about canceling this inner vow determine whether you'll ever experience genuine abundance or remain trapped in the exhausting cycle of financial maintenance. When you declare, "I cancel the inner vow of just enough," you're not just speaking words, you're breaking a spiritual contract that was probably made during childhood when you witnessed scarcity and unconsciously agreed that modest survival was safer than abundant overflow. But canceling the vow of limitation is only half of the equation in your journey toward unrestricted abundance. The other half involves recognizing a truth that revolutionizes your entire approach to manifestation. You are not blocked by lack of availability. You are blocked by internal resistance to receiving what's already yours. This shifts the entire focus from seeking abundance outside yourself to removing barriers within yourself that prevent natural flow. Most people spend their energy trying to create abundance, manipulate circumstances, or convince the universe to send them money, never realizing that infinite abundance is already available and waiting for their resistance to dissolve. Behind the scenes of delayed manifestation is always someone who's unconsciously pushing away what they're consciously trying to attract. They want wealth, but fear the responsibility. They desire overflow, but worry about judgment. They seek abundance, but doubt their worthiness. The hidden truth that changes everything about your financial experience is that abundance isn't withheld from you by external forces, economic conditions, or divine judgment. Abundance is blocked by internal resistance patterns that were programmed into your consciousness through years of conditioning, family patterns, and societal messaging. The moment you remove these internal barriers, the natural flow of prosperity resumes immediately because it was never actually stopped at the source. This recognition transforms your entire manifestation practice because instead of trying to create something new, you start removing what's preventing something that already exists from flowing into your experience. You stop begging for abundance and start claiming what was never meant to be withheld from you in the first place. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding that you must remove internal blocks rather than create external abundance is foundational. But the real transformation happens when you learn to identify and dissolve the specific resistance patterns that have been operating unconsciously in your life, when you discover how to systematically clear every barrier between you and unlimited prosperity. Write in the comments, "I remove all blocks now," if you're ready to stop trying to create abundance and start removing what's preventing the abundance that already belongs to you. That systematic clearing of resistance patterns creates space for one of the most powerful transformations in your entire spiritual journey. Recognizing yourself as a multiplication point for divine abundance rather than a storage container trying to hoard resources. When you declare, "Spirit multiplies through me instantly," you're shifting from the scarcity mindset of accumulation to the abundance mindset of circulation. This creates flow rather than stagnation and accelerates manifestation because you're no longer trying to grasp and hold on to wealth. You're becoming the channel through which it multiplies. Most people unconsciously approach abundance from a hoarding mentality, believing they need to gather and protect resources against future scarcity. Behind the scenes of this approach is fear-based thinking that actually creates the very limitation it's trying to prevent. When you understand yourself as a multiplication point, you realize that the more you allow to flow through you, the more continues to come. You become like a river rather than a dam, and rivers never run dry because they're constantly connected to their source. The impact of this shift on your transformation journey is immediate because it eliminates the anxiety and desperation that comes from believing you must protect what you have. Instead of operating from fear of loss, you operate from certainty of continuous supply. The decisions you make about giving, spending, investing, and circulating money completely change when you understand that you're not depleting a limited resource, but activating an infinite multiplication process. But there's an even deeper layer to this truth that will revolutionize your entire relationship with results and timing. You have already won in the invisible realm. This isn't positive thinking or wishful visualization. This is recognition that victory exists in spiritual reality before it manifests in physical reality. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough, there's always a period where the victory is complete in consciousness before it becomes visible in circumstances. This recognition creates the confidence and energy of someone who has already achieved their goal because in the realm that matters most, you have. The hidden truth about manifestation timing is that everything happens instantly in spirit, and what appears as delay is simply the translation process from invisible to visible reality. When you truly understand that you've already won in the invisible, you stop operating from desperation, anxiety, or impatience, and start operating from calm certainty. The journey from hoping for victory to recognizing completed victory transforms every aspect of how you show up in the world. You make decisions from abundance rather than lack. You speak from authority rather than uncertainty. You move with the grace of someone who knows the outcome is already determined in their favor. This energetic shift accelerates physical manifestation because you're no longer broadcasting the signal of someone seeking victory. You're broadcasting the signal of someone celebrating it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding that you've already won in the invisible realm is transformative. But the real breakthrough happens when you learn to maintain this victory consciousness consistently in your daily life. When you discover how to operate from completed triumph, even when physical circumstances haven't yet caught up with spiritual reality. Write in the comments, "I already won," if you're ready to stop waiting for victory and start operating from the unshakable knowing that your triumph is already complete in the realm that matters most. That consistent victory consciousness in daily life becomes natural when you eliminate the most subtle yet destructive pattern that keeps abundance perpetually out of reach. Speaking and thinking in future tense about what's already yours in spirit. The phrase, "it's coming," might seem positive and hopeful, but it actually creates energetic delay because it positions your desired outcome as approaching rather than available. When you shift to "it is here," you eliminate the gap between desire and fulfillment that most people unconsciously maintain through their language patterns. This shift from future tense to present tense represents one of the most powerful transformations in your entire manifestation journey. Behind the scenes of delayed results is always someone who's unconsciously programming postponement through their speech. Every time you say your abundance is coming, your breakthrough is approaching, or your wealth is on its way, you're actually instructing the universe to keep it in the future rather than delivering it now. The impact of establishing present moment availability cannot be overstated because it shifts your entire energy from waiting to receiving. When you declare that your desired outcome is here now, not coming later, your nervous system begins to align with immediate availability rather than extended anticipation. This creates the internal frequency that magnetizes instant manifestation because you're no longer broadcasting the signal of someone waiting for their good to arrive. The decisions you make about tense and timing in your declarations determine whether you experience immediate response or extended delay from spiritual law. Behind the scenes of every rapid breakthrough, there's someone who learned to speak from completion rather than expectation, from presence rather than hope, from immediate availability rather than future possibility. But there comes a moment in your transformation journey when all the principles, all the declarations, all the understanding converges into one ultimate recognition that seals everything you've learned and commands immediate manifestation. The spiritual jackpot is mine now. This isn't just another affirmation or positive statement. This is the culminating declaration that claims complete victory in the realm of spiritual law and establishes your position as someone who has transcended luck, chance, and external circumstances. When you speak this final declaration with genuine conviction, you're not asking for the spiritual jackpot, hoping for it, or trying to manifest it. You're claiming what was always yours by divine right and commanding its immediate translation into visible form. This statement carries the frequency of absolute finality, unshakable certainty, and complete spiritual authority that leaves no room for doubt, delay, or denial. The hidden truth behind this ultimate declaration is that it seals all previous statements and activates every principle you've learned simultaneously. It's like pressing the master switch that turns on every light in the building at once. All your preparation, all your alignment, all your consciousness work culminates in this moment of absolute claiming. That genuine conviction and embodiment of ultimate victory frequency becomes your new normal when you consistently practice these principles and surround yourself with content that reinforces your transformation rather than pulling you back into old patterns. If you've made it this far in our conversation today, you're clearly someone who's serious about shifting from limitation to abundance. And that commitment to your own growth is exactly what separates those who experience real change from those who just collect information. The journey we've taken together through these revelations isn't just theoretical knowledge. It's practical spiritual technology that works when you apply it consistently. This is why I create content like this, to give you the tools and understanding that most people never discover about how manifestation actually operates behind the scenes of visible reality. If this resonates with your soul and you want to continue receiving insights that support your transformation, subscribe to the channel because every video I create is designed to deepen your understanding and strengthen your manifestation abilities. This isn't just entertainment, it's education for your consciousness. And if you stayed with me through this entire exploration of spiritual wealth principles, drop a comment below saying, "This message was meant for me," so I know you're part of this community of people who are serious about living from abundance rather than hoping for it. The connection we've built through these concepts deserves recognition too, so if you felt that shift in your thinking, that expansion in your possibilities, that quiet knowing that something fundamental just changed in how you see wealth and manifestation, tap that like button to acknowledge the energy we've created together. There's a video right here that complements this topic perfectly, diving even deeper into the specific language patterns that accelerate manifestation. Click and continue with me over there, because your transformation is just getting started, and I want to make sure you have every tool you need to command the abundance that's already yours by divine right.